welcome back to episode 2 of my Age of Wonders 3 challenge series. In this challenge series, it is the week starting army only challenge, where, well, I'll get into that. So, last episode, episode 1, I talked about the setup and the rules and the self-imposed restrictions and my strategy for the race and class I chose, all of that. So we have loaded into the map. Hi, Elf Theocrat, as you know. Starting in lower left, which is fine. Some decent starting structures, which is good. So in terms of starting abilities, Vengeful Frost, that's good. Killer Instinct, situational. It's my primary range damage. Devout as a Theocrat, Blight Weakness from the Elf, 9 is a little low, 12, 50. So all of that, as I talked about, it looks like I started here with 3 High Elf Initiates, Tier 1 Irregulars, which do evolve into High Elf Storm Sisters, if you can get them to gold rank. And we have a Dargal, shows up a lot in my games. Orc Dreadnought, that's good. I like orcs, tanky, beefy and tanky, inflict crippling wounds. Having that inherent is great. Being able to debuff people who are running up against you. Muskets are great ranged weapons. The Victory Rush will be helpful for early heal. He will not be leading the army, so this isn't relevant. That's nice to have. And in terms of, oh yeah, got to, yep, go ahead, join. Okay, in terms of what you got, useless, flashbang, situational, I much prefer something like Force Field. Okay, and then Unicorn Rider, so this is what I'll be starting with. All right, so this is my starting army. My leader, the initial hero, the T2, which is a High Elf Unicorn Rider in this case, and then Initiates, which I will hope to get evolved to Storm Sisters. So I'm limiting myself to only using these 6 units for the entire game. Those are the only military units I'm allowed to have. I will, once I get a Builder's Hall up, I will start to build a few High Elf builders to help build some structures, be couriers for sending Life Forge or item forged items to this army, that sort of stuff. So I'm allowed some additional non-military units, but in terms of military, these 6 are it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here, and every few turns or so, I will stop and record an episode to recap the important stuff that happened the last batch of turns. Something I did with last challenge is that sometimes I would go a fair bit in between turns because nothing truly interesting was happening. Like the sites I was clearing, the battles I was fighting, the decisions I were making were pretty standard and not super tough or scary. It wasn't very interesting. So I'm going to limit myself to only doing episode recaps when there's something kind of beyond ordinary stuff to talk about, right? Because the interesting part about this challenge is the fact that I'm using so few units. So I'm gonna focus on the stuff related to that. I'm not gonna focus on stuff that I or Bob at Black Arrow Gaming or Hilliaden or Marcus or other Age of Wonders 3 players do in their strategy series. I won't be covering that sort of stuff. I'm just going to focus on the challenge aspect. So I'll be recording these episodes as I go, and hopefully I survive, and hopefully I win against the 5 allied AI opponents, who I assume will be over here since I started on the left. And so I'll have to think about, do I want to meet them early, try and take them out early, but build myself up before I throw myself in there? I'll have to think through some of that, but some of it will depend on how early game goes. We'll probably look to clear the structure first. Won't go this way because of that water here. So this has been episode 2 I will see you back in episode 3, and I hope you enjoy this challenge series. Thanks.